Hi everyone, this is Dr. Nitin Chhoda and welcome to this episode of Ignition Time. Thank you so much for being a viewer. Thank you so much for being a subscriber. We have had the inauguration of President Biden right there. Hello, President Biden, and Vice President Kamala Harris. Hello, Vice President Harris. So, we have a new president, we have a new vice president, and I was soaking in the moment yesterday. That's why I didn't cover all of that stuff live. I was trying to understand the gravity and appreciate the gravity, respect the gravity of what was happening, and soaking everything in. Now that I've actually had a chance to digest everything, I've actually been able to identify some of the truly historic moments that took place yesterday. Some of the significant things that were said by senators, some of the significant things that were said by President Biden, by Vice President Kamala Harris, and also, I believe something that was very significant yesterday was a normal press briefing from the new White House Press Secretary Jennifer Psaki. In fact, I'll be highlighting the difference between the Biden administration press briefings and the Trump administration press briefings featuring Sean Spicer. Remember that guy? Well, he ended up on Dancing with the Stars, and I think he's an anchor somewhere. And Kayleigh McEnany, the pretty intense press secretary who consistently sparred with news reporters, especially her best friend Jim Acosta from CNN. I can tell you that there's Kayleigh McEnany. Hello, Kayleigh. And there's Jim Acosta from CNN. Hello, Jim. I'm sure these guys are best friends and they hang out together. Not. So I'll be highlighting the differences between the two press briefings in a separate video. You definitely want to look out for that video. But in this video, I'm going to just focus on the historic moments, and I'm going to recap what happened on Inauguration Day. So in case you missed it, and in case you didn't watch it for several hours, which I'm sure you didn't, then I'm going to recap the most critical moments of what took place on Inauguration Day. Let's just jump right in. Let's start with a quick recap of all the events on Inauguration Day. Then I'll highlight the key aspects of President Biden's inaugural speech and some additional speeches from the president and the vice president later that night. So first, let's start with the key events that took place on Inauguration Day. Let's roll the tape.
And ground ourselves in the faithful love of God and the love that we have.
That even as we grieved, we grew, that even as we hurt, we hoped, that even as we tired, we tried, that we'll forever be tied together, victorious, not because we will never again know defeat, but because we will never again sow division.
I, Kamala Davy Harris, do solemnly swear
I, Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution,
that I will faithfully execute
the office of President of the United States.
the office of President of the United
so
States.
help me God.
We face an attack on our democracy and on truth, a raging virus, growing inequity, the sting of systemic racism, a climate in crisis, America's role in the world. Any one of these would be enough to challenge us in profound ways. But the fact is, we face them all at once. I promise you, we will be judged, you and I, by how we resolve these cascading crises of our era. Will we meet our obligations and pass along a new and better world to our children? I believe we must. I'm sure you do as well. I believe we will.
Now, let's take a look at President Biden's historic address. And Christopher Wallace from Fox News called this the best inaugural speech he has ever seen. And he's been seeing speeches since 1961. President Biden said, "We have much to do among many, many other very important things." Here's highlights from the speech. Let's roll the tape.
We've learned again that democracy is precious. Democracy is fragile. And at this hour, my friends, democracy has prevailed. We'll press forward with speed and urgency, for we have much to do in this winter of peril and significant possibilities. Much to repair, much to restore, much to heal, much to build, and much to gain. Uniting to fight the foes we face: anger, resentment and hatred, extremism, lawlessness, violence, disease, joblessness, and hopelessness. With unity, we can do great things, important things. We can right wrongs. We can put people to work in good jobs. We can teach our children in safe schools. We can overcome the deadly virus. We can reward work and rebuild the middle class and make health care secure for all. We can deliver racial justice, and we can make America once again the leading force for good in the world. For without unity, there is no peace, only bitterness and fury. No progress, only exhausting outrage. No nation, only a state of chaos. This is our historic moment of crisis and challenge. And unity is the path forward. And we must reject the culture in which facts themselves are manipulated and even manufactured. Here we stand, we're 108 years ago at another inaugural. Thousands of protesters tried to block brave women marching for the right to vote. And today, we mark the swearing in of the first woman in American history elected to national office, Vice President Kamala Harris. Don't tell me things can't change. To all those who did not support us, let me say this. Hear me out as we move forward. Take a measure of me and my heart. And if you still disagree, so be it. That's democracy. That's America. The right to dissent peaceably within the guardrails of our republic is perhaps this nation's greatest strength. Yet hear me clearly. Disagreement must not lead to disunion. And I pledge this to you. I will be a president for all Americans. All Americans. But the answer is not to turn inward, to retreat into competing factions, distrusting those who don't look like you, or worship the way you do, or don't get their news from the same sources you do. We must end this uncivil war. We will repair our alliances and engage with the world once again, not to meet yesterday's challenges, but today's and tomorrow's challenges. And we'll lead not merely by the example of our power, but by the power of our example. And in my first act as president, I'd like to ask you to join me in a moment of silent prayer. Remember all those who we lost in this past year to the pandemic. Those 400,000 fellow Americans, moms, dads, husbands, wives, sons, daughters, friends, neighbors, and co-workers. We'll honor them by becoming the people and the nation we know we can and should be. So I ask you, let's say a silent prayer for those who've lost their lives and those left behind, and for our country. Now we're going to be tested. Are we going to step up? All of us? It's time for boldness, for there's so much to do.
Now that was a good speech. That was something that we all needed to hear. For me, it's not important whether you're red or blue. For this channel, it doesn't matter whether you're a Democrat or a Republican. For me, it's not about the red or the blue. It's about the red, white, and blue. I'm not Democrat. I'm not Republican. I'm American. One thing we can all agree on is that we work best when we come together. It shouldn't be about red states versus blue states. And that is something that I can think we can all learn from President Biden. Speaking of learning, we can all learn quite a lot from Vice President Kamala Harris as well. Let's take a look at this speech later in the night from Vice President Kamala Harris, where she said, "We will rise up. This is American aspiration." Let's roll the tape.
Good evening. It is my honor to be here, to stand on the shoulders of those who came before, to speak tonight as your Vice President. In many ways, this moment embodies our character as a nation. It demonstrates who we are. Even in dark times, we not only dream, we do. We not only see what has been, we see what can be. We shoot for the moon and then we plant our flag on it. We are bold, fearless, and ambitious. We are undaunted in our belief that we shall overcome, that we will rise up. This is American aspiration. In the middle of the Civil War, Abraham Lincoln saw a better future and built it with land-grant colleges and the Transcontinental Railroad. In the middle of the Civil Rights Movement, Dr. King fought for racial justice and economic justice. American aspiration is what drove the women of this nation throughout history to demand equal rights, and the authors of the Bill of Rights to claim freedoms that had rarely been written down before. A great experiment takes great determination, the will to do the work, and then the wisdom to keep refining, keep tinkering, keep perfecting. The same determination is being realized in America today. I see it in the scientists who are transforming the future. I see it in the parents who are nurturing generations to come, in the innovators and the educators, in everyone, everywhere, who is building a better life for themselves, their families, and their communities. This, too, is American aspiration. This is what President Joe Biden has called upon us to summon now.
And finally, President Biden spoke again last night and said that democracy has prevailed. We must come together as Americans. Pretty strong comments, pretty significant comments. Let's roll the tape and hear the closing comments from President Biden late last night on this historic inauguration day yesterday, the 20th of January, 2021, where we welcomed the 46th President of the United States. Congratulations, President Biden, there he is, and congratulations, Vice President Kamala Harris, there she is. Let's roll the tape and hear from President Biden.
Hello, all the participants of tonight's event. It's humbling to stand here in this place in front of these sacred words, humbling out of respect to President Lincoln and the office we now share, and humbling because of you, the American people. As I said earlier today, we have learned again that democracy is precious. And because of you, democracy has prevailed. That's why Jill and I, Kamala and Doug, wanted to make sure our inauguration was not about us, but about you, the American people. This is a great nation. We're a good people. And to overcome the challenges in front of us requires the most elusive of all things in a democracy, unity. It requires us to come together in common love that defines us as Americans. Opportunity, liberty, dignity, and respect. And to unite against common foes, hate, violence, disease, and hopelessness. America's story depends not on any one of us, not on some of us, but on all of us, on we the people. That's the task before us. The only way we'll get through the darkness around us. There are moments in our history when more is asked of us as Americans. We saw that in the Civil War. We saw that with Dr. King dreaming from these steps across the mall. We are in one of those moments now. The pandemic, economic crisis, racial injustice, the climate crisis, and threats to our very democracy. And the question is, are we up to it? Will we meet the moment like our forebears have? I believe we must, and I believe we will. You, the American people, are the reason why. I've never been more optimistic about America than I am this very day. There isn't anything we can't do if we do it together. And that's what you'll see tonight. Stories of ordinary Americans who do extraordinary things. That's how we'll celebrate America and respect and represent America in our time in office. America built of decency. It's built of decency and dignity, of love and healing, of greatness and goodness, of possibilities. This is a story that guides us, inspires us, and unites us today and always. So thank you for this honor. I will give my all to you. May God bless America and may God protect our troops.
That's it, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you thought of this video. You'll get a link to all of the videos so you can watch the entire segments, the entire speeches on your own. You'll get a link to those videos in the description section below. Please comment below and let me know what you thought. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. My name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time. If you don't know anything about me, check out some information about me. You'll learn more about who I am, what my journey has been like, and why you should listen to me. I am a proud patriot. I'm a proud citizen of this beautiful country. For me, it's not about the red or the blue. It's about the red, white, and blue. I'm not Democrat. I'm not Republican. I'm American. I encourage you to subscribe to our channel. Please click subscribe. Please enable notifications and please ignite that like button because the name of our channel is Ignition Time. We release videos every day and we release important content about the country, about the economy, and about your money. You can also follow us on Instagram. Our Instagram handle is ignition_time. That's ignition_time. And you can also follow us on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is also ignition_time. In fact, here's my Twitter feed. I encourage you to follow me on Twitter because you'll learn in real time what I'm reading. I retweet and you'll be able to essentially read and follow news stories side by side with me. So I encourage you to follow me on Twitter. Now, I encourage you to also comment below because one of the incredible things about our community is that our community is growing, it's bipartisan, it's respectful. So please comment below. You might make some new friends. Also, please share this video with just 2 friends or family members, just 2 friends or family members. I'd really appreciate that. We always include a link in the description section below to all our resources, multiple links at times. So you can always follow those news stories on your own. Once again, please click like, please subscribe, please enable notifications. I would greatly appreciate that. Thank you so much for watching. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time.